So you mean to say, yes, speed of delivery is one of the motivators, but then they realize there is much more to it apart from speed, and now their ideas start flowing in, and then imaginations turn wild, and then they want more and more features added to it.
Totally, that happens so often. When they look at the platform and the possibilities, the ideas just swell up. Oh, we can do this, we can do that. Then, as I said, if it's a big organization and there's a digital transformation team who is looking into who has been given the responsibility more often than not to build an idea, and once it gets shared, then the ideas multiply. That and what happens is what really helps them, or what really helps the management to drive value, is when they are able to see very quickly what they are going to get. Then they're able to put their ideas into implementation much faster than just having a BRD on paper.
Correct, correct, correct. So you mean faster time to value is
Yes.
something that is very dear to your customers. And once they see that, oh, we are getting value out of it faster, then they want to invest more into solution, tooling, ideation, and stuff like that. And you are able to achieve this with low code at a faster pace.
Yes, that's completely true. And also, we can it a lot of times it happens that we take the client, or the client's team also is involved in the process, in the
Correct.
ideation process. They are also able to so they have ideas in mind. Once they start putting them within an application, and when they look at the result, then they realize what they eventually want. So that's where they can really draw out a lot of value. They save a lot of time, ideate better, and implement it much faster.
Fantastic, fantastic. So this comes to a next question. How early do you think they get into the process of understanding the application, and how the journey from ideation to developing, designing, then developing applications, testing it with various stakeholders, and then probably deploying it, and then going all over it again in an agile fashion. um, how do you think low code has helped you? Where in the journey it is most impactful? From start, end, middle, what is it?
Actually, low code, I strongly feel it's everywhere. We
Okay.
have clients who are very clear what they want, and they have precise documentation of this is what we want executed. So for them, the delivery becomes really faster because everything is pointed out. They know what they want, and they're really delighted by the speed of execution. There are clients who have a hazy idea of what they might want, or what are the possibilities. We are trying to explore this particular, we want to digitize this process. What are the possibilities? So once we can start with a POC or MVP, and then that gives them the power to really formulate their ideas. So they are involved. Some of the clients are involved right from the beginning, from the MVP stage. We get involved with the client in architecting the solution as well. Like what would be the right database? What kind of third-party APIs to inculcate depending on the use case. So
Correct, correct, correct. So I understand. Of course, application development is one service that you offer for your customers, but of course there are other services like scheming or architecting a database, hosting, migrating the data, maybe cleaning up and adding more services, and picking up more other tools and services so that the whole final digital solution is available to the.
yes,
Um,
yes,
so in that sense, for when we pass a lead to you, Yash, I'm just jumping off to a very different
sure,
question.
sure.
When we pass a lead to you or a customer who wants to do, a low code application, and then sometimes they are also sure that, hey, we are sold on with Drona HQ, and then we say Yash, and they want somebody to help them in the services, making their first application or making their idea into an application. A lot of times services are added to on top of it, and that brings to a question that how long and how complex are these services apart from the application development, and uh, does it really make a complete solution for the customers, and do they enjoy this? So for every Drona HQ license that they have bought from you or from us, and then you add services, what is the kind of an engagement that you think this is really helping you? Because I
So,
understand there are a lot of other services, not just application development. But does this really work for you as a software development agency where a customer is ready for a solution in mind, and then you have to add your services on top of it?
from what I gather from your question, so there are different kind of customers, engagements with the customers. There are short-term engagements where we have a few customers. They do keep returning back to us for quick, small solutions. They might last a week or even less than that, and they know what they want, and they're doing multiple different projects at different places, so they quickly want a solution for that. There are engagements on the other extreme is we have engagements which have been going on for more than a year or 2 years. They are continuously building. So if it's a big enterprise, they want to digitize a suite of applications and ideas. So it's a continuous effort.
Correct.
And the way so one of our clients, so for him, the value add, which I really appreciated, what he mentioned as well, that he has to spend just half an hour or 1 hour in a week, and he has a lot of digital delivery done, because that's what our engagement is. We meet once a week, and we just note down the ideas that need to be implemented, and that's it. And we've been having that engagement for more than
Wow.
1.5 years now. So
Fantastic.
we have customers with different requirements.
Fantastic. That I mean the audience will relate to it completely, because a lot of times when they have customers, the customers turn back to them saying that, hey, we want to do something now, A, B, C, some ideas, and they want to come back to you as a extended partner for them. So what kind of use cases you say, hey, let's go with low code solutions, and some use cases you would be say, no, let's not do with low code. Of course, there are definitely boundaries and limitations and stuff to any technology and framework. And could you highlight to our audience that, hey, these are definitely probable solutions that have always been a case where we have done it very quickly with a low code, and this is the solution, maybe if you recollect something that you would have advised that, hey, let's not go with low code at that moment.
So most of the requirements that we have serviced, like we've been able to service most of the requirements that come to us. They've been CRMs, CRM tools. Ticketing management has been one of the big vertical that we have delivered solutions for very different kind of customers. The ticketing management that is very cohesively integrated with automation in terms of notifying at the right moment, highlight escalation, maintaining the escalation matrix, ensuring the client's requirements. Then at the same time, we've done a lot of projects around inventory management, and we have also done asset management. Yeah. So CRM, and so these are most of the projects. One of the customers started with a manufacturing customer, started with a simple BI tool that they wanted to implement, look at the data. But now, over time, they have built different applications generating QR codes, generating like sale order management, partial sale order management. So that has really empowered their team to, and the ideas come from their team. Oh, we want to digitize this process, and we start working on it. So it started with one particular aspect, but we are trying to cover as many. And the best part is we are integrating with their existing, say, databases, or their existing other suite of products, which are RESTful. They just connect very seamlessly, and Drona HQ gives the ability to stitch all the data together at one place.
Okay.
A couple of times we've had requirement. So I'm sorry, I just answer. So a couple of requirements which were not able, which I was not able to meet was some real-time applications in terms of stock market related views and real-time chatting applications. So
Okay.
those are a
Okay.
couple of use cases which we're not able to do, but most of the other internal tooling and business processes we were able to generate. One very good use case was, I need to highlight this, was the report generation. So dynamic forms, surveys being conducted by fire audits or other audits, they have like hundreds of questions to be answered, which are generated dynamically. So
Okay.
the list, the question, whether it appears or not, or what the answers are, depends on what was previously answered. So a
Yeah.
dynamic list generates a complete dynamic PDF, and that gets emailed to all the stakeholders. So all that automation integration was very neatly handled. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what I understand is you've pretty much covered a wide spectrum of applications. Rightly said, business processes and automations and forms, dynamic forms. Of course, yes, rightly said that, okay, majority of them are very real time and B2C and very, very uh, uh, maybe a real time tracker or a stock market kind of an app that you could not do it. I completely agree. You should maybe not go for something like low code at that moment. If you want real handhold for every element and stuff for it. So coming to the skill sets, Yash, what kind of skill sets do you think your team needs to serve so many customers with so many varied requirements? Somebody's coming for an form, somebody's coming for a CRUD app or an API orchestration or an automation. What kind of skill sets is required within your team?
Sure. So thankfully, the low-code platform and Rona HQ. So there is very good documentation available for the entire platform. For somebody who's working on the platform, it is expected they need to understand the basic JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Just with this, they should be able to build any application. They should have basic UI and UX understanding of the concepts and common sense of how to place things and how to stitch things together. On top of that, when we start getting involved into database management and architecting solutions, so we require basic, simple database querying skills, data handling skills. So I think the entry barrier is the pretty much the basic for the industry. It's not we don't require very skilled or skilled in a particular language or a particular domain. That is not required. So entry barrier is very easy and low.
Yeah, so as an agency or as a firm, you are able to get talent, and maybe you don't have to worry so much about attracting a particular niche of a talent and grow at the same time. That relieves a little bit of pressure, because then if we are stuck to particular kind of question, yeah, or a particular kind of a niche or a domain, then it becomes
Right.
little challenging at times. As I mean, of course, these are the questions that I get from customers and agencies across, that how do we serve? Because then customers are very finicky about, say, we want this code only in React, or we want only Android developer. Yes, that brings me to a next question. Have you had customers who want mobile and web both kind of an output, and how Drona HQ's platform has ever helped you in that area?
Totally, like hands down. I mean the power that Drona HQ, like with one publish, you get Android, iOS, and a mobile app simultaneously. Like really helps with the customers, and it really enhances their experience in what the use cases for their applications. We've had plus one more point which you did not really mention was offline submission. So that really when we have a mobile app and the service team or we've made an application for the technician to be operated out on the field. A lot of times they don't have the network, so
Yeah.
we have the provision for offline submissions as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the same application can be molded for the web as well as the mobile device simultaneously. So that also saves us a lot of time. We don't have to create an application for mobile device separately. So
Correct.
yeah, it does really help.
Yeah, fantastic. Um,
Uh, I had a question, Yash. Lots of time people think that they cannot get rich or good-looking applications. Have you ever felt that? How do you manage customizations in such cases?
So I have seen the platform evolve over the years. Currently, the kind of offerings that Drone HQ has is like is as good as a free open source, as in a pro code application. You get themes, you have custom CSS on each and every control. So it's at par with anything out there. So there is no hindrance in terms of the look and feel and the UI.
so one of the questions that has been asked is, what about customizations? Because people understand it is a drag and drop kind of a solution, there will be ready templates and ready components and UI components which are readily available. What if client demands or the UI UX is something which is completely different than uh, available? I mean, without looking at the UI component list, people will definitely have this question that, okay, what if I want something which is not there? Then what happens? Have
Right.
you faced something wherein uh, a component was not there or the UI was not very satisfactory? Client had a very different UI UX kind of a requirement and they were not getting satisfied. So how did you handle that situation?
Yeah, completely. This comes up many a times. First of all, it is really beneficial to address the requirement through the stock components. It saves a lot of time. That is one of the core components of a low code platform that you can quickly deliver it. Having said that, there is an equally powerful. So with Drone HQ, you get an equally powerful custom control building solution, and not just a GUI solution. We can also hard code it. So both, there are two interfaces where we can build a GUI custom control and then publish that and use that within the application. At the same time, we can enhance a lot of functionality for the custom control that we are building, and there is a separate interface for that. We have
Was it
used.
sufficient? So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Drone actually has was it sufficient? Was it satisfactory for the customer?
Yes, completely. A couple of customers have given us the exact look and feel of the control that they want to see. It's not a very common control, and we were able to execute that comfortably.
Okay, fantastic. I think the audience will definitely be happy with that question here. Uh, any customer stories or anecdotes that you would want to share, which is like surprised them and delighted them completely? Maybe you would have thought and they would have thought something A and you delivered it. I don't know what stories that you think it are worth sharing with our audience today.
Okay, so this is a recent one where I was approached by an acquaintance for building a field uh, service tool. Basically, that the team goes out on the field. There are more than 200 technician teams. They go out on the field, they capture some information, and they want to submit it. And I was approached by the technical team to with the requirements, and I just inquired about what is the timeline that they were looking for the POC, and I was told 2 weeks, but we were able to do it in 2 days. So that was like really unexpected for the customer, and so I'm just hoping for things to go ahead. And there have been many more such use cases in terms of execution. Like, I mean, we have delivered more than what the customer was expecting. That okay, this can also be done. We were able to incorporate additional functionalities which were not part of the Drone HQ ecosystem. Simple thing like pivot table. So we were able to implement a pivot table within with the current set of data. And that was initially, we were also not sure whether we'll be able to execute it or not. But after understanding the requirement and exploring a little, we were able to deliver it. And so like such small value adds that when customer gets within the application, so they feel delighted.
I had one question, Yash. Again,
Sure.
maybe we have covered it in previous answers in bits and pieces, but as a standalone, I wanted the audience to hear from you. And
Okay.
is that it's not uncommon to have concerns about security or sharing. How do you manage permissions between your end users, what they can access versus things like that, right? Data integrity and things. So, have you been able to solve that? Has low code made your job easier in addressing that kind of a concern with the audience?
So you're saying security with respect to the data, or with respect to the people who are building the applications?
Let's take it in both the sense. I guess people would like to know.
So, all right. So, a lot of times what happens is, I'll talk first with respect to the application platform. A lot of times there are many builders many creators who are using the platform simultaneously. So, the very, very interesting security features are already baked into the platform. At the same time, we can give API level, application level view, and all view rights and usage rights. So if one team is building an application, the other team will not be able to see what is happening. So that is there. They can control the API level viewing rights as well. So that kind of security is there for the building team, the creator team. At the same time, for the data that is hosted or the application itself where it's hosted, I believe the application is used by a lot of BFSI and other security first kind of customers. And for them, self-hosting is a solution. And we have worked that out with the customers a lot of times, and that more often than not takes care of their security requirements.
Brilliant. So I guess that answers. We are able to serve that those also who are in a very highly regulated industry, or they are working with very sensitive data. Maybe it's in the healthcare or banking.
Yes.
Yash, that comes to share us some insights or stories where things did not go north, they went south with low code, or with timing, or with expectations, or the support, anything that because it is a real world. Things we are all having flaws, and definitely there can be some ups and there can be some downs. Any stories that you would want to share with the audience, saying that, hey, we are all on the same boat, and sometimes these things might not work, or this is what happened with me, and maybe I'll be more vigilant about something like that, or any story that comes to your mind?
Sure. There have been a couple of projects. One thing that has been common, where there was some effort put into building the application for the entire journey. But I would say the common thing was not setting the requirements and very tight requirements in the beginning of the project. So because it was kept a little fluid, the requirements kept on increasing, and the expectations didn't meet. And so that kind of didn't work out well for either of us. I mean, for the customer, for me as a developer. I mean, that has been the only common thing where we have not really had a very tight scope built during the beginning of the project. Otherwise, execution wise, it has been usually when the clients come, we give a good demo of the whole platform, and they understand what is possible, what is not possible. If that clarity is given at the beginning, that saves everyone some time. And so
Correct. Correct. Have you ever been asked this question? Because we get a lot of users here asking us this question, saying that our client expects us to develop only in React or only in a particular language, or our client expects us to they expect us to share a source code, but how big? So, those kind of customers, how do these agencies handle such questions and such? Do you have any advice for them to, handle these questions from their clients that, hey, we would require a source code, or we would require definitely, we don't want a vendor lock-in and stuff like that. Maybe those are the initial set of questions that, come up to them. So how do they tackle that?
So more often than not, the customers who are looking at the low-code platform and the leads that come to us, they are aware of the whole ecosystem, and they are more driven about the value that is being given to them on the ecosystem. They don't really care much about the source code. It has happened that we have trained and empowered the clients themselves to work on the platform, so that there is no dependency on the agency as such. And as it is, it's very things are very clear and easy to understand in a much the visual manner makes it very simple to understand.